Hey, thank you all so much for being here today. My name is Michael Williams. I'm the EarlyAct coordinator here at E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School. I want to thank all of you for coming today. I was telling my students earlier that sometimes there's a lot of confusion between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and a lot of students are running around thanking veterans on Memorial Day. Well, don't stop doing that. Thank a veteran every opportunity you have. But Memorial Day is a day that we set aside to thank the men and women that have given their lives for the sake of our freedoms, the freedoms that we take so much for granted. And people from Warren County, people from Front Royal have been doing that since long before even the Revolutionary War, the French and Indian War. People from this county and this town gave their lives so that we could have the freedoms that we have. So anytime you're in Cracker Barrel or wherever walking around, or you're downtown and you see somebody with one of those hats on that says World War II vet, Korean vet, Iraq vet, Afghanistan vet, or you see them with a U.S. Navy hat or something like that, go up and thank them for their service. And just say, I just want to thank you for your service. But don't just thank them, also mean it. And that really means a lot to the men and women that have served our country. My friend Malcolm Barr is here today, and one of the most forgotten beings for Memorial Day for my late father, were what was called the dogs of war, and animals that gave their lives for their master. And my father lost a couple of dogs when he was serving in Vietnam, and there was no memorial service for them. It obviously really hurt. How many of you all have pets? How many of you have lost a pet? How many of you were very sad when you lost that pet? Now imagine that pet's main job was to simply protect your life. And that was my dad's dog. And fortunately my dad came home. Sadly a couple of his pets didn't. But this wonderful man here, Mr. Barr, he put together a ceremony for the dogs of war. And out at the animal shelter, if you've ever been to the animal shelter in Warren County, there is a memorial out there with a statue of a dog. And I encourage you sometime, maybe this summer, to go out there and see the wonderful thing that Mr. Barr put together out there. He's a wonderful man, he's done a lot for our community. And what's really cool, Mr. Barr is actually from England. And for those of you that know or don't know, I'm half British. My mother's from England. So it's really special for me to have such a wonderful friend here like that. So the first thing we would like to do is I'm going to turn it over to our chorus, and they are going to sing the national anthem. I hope it's right. Okay?
We're waiting for the rest of
Oh, you're waiting for the rest of them?
Yeah.
Okay, well, while we're waiting on them, I'd like to also introduce my friend Mr. Skip Rogers. Some of you all remember Skip. Some of you all remember Mr. Skip. We raised money at Christmas time through our change wars. And remember last year we raised about $500? Yep. And this year, how much did we raise? We raised over $1,000. Very good, Joden. And all that money went to Able Forces, and $1,101.11. Very good. That's right. And all that money went to Mr. Rogers here, not him. He took the money and made sure that a lot of our veterans that live in our community that don't have a whole lot had at least a nice Christmas. And what a wonderful thing to do for our veterans in our community. And this time I'm going to turn it over to our music director, Mr. Thomas Hassel.
Hey everybody, thank you for being here. We are so excited to be joining you all here to sing the national anthem on this special occasion. I'm just going to get music set up, and our 4th and 5th grade chorus is going to get in position slowly.
Now I'd like to ask all EarlyAct students to do what we do every single morning at E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School. And if our guests would join us, we'd like to say our pledge to allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you're able to have a seat, please do so. It is my honor to introduce a gentleman that I met several years ago. It's kind of hard for me to get through the introduction because it's emotional for me. Whenever I have the chance to simply meet a veteran, let alone one like Sergeant Bunky Woods. And I'm not going to take his thunder because he deserves as much time as he can have. But I want you all to listen very carefully to Sergeant Wood's story, and I want you to listen, and I want you to take it all in, okay? And as he's talking to you, I want you to think about just how grateful you are to live in this wonderful land that we call America. Bunky.
Hello everyone, I'm retired Staff Sergeant Arthur Bunky Woods. Some of you might know me. I appreciate the invitation to come out here today and talk to you about the great country we live in. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So, I'm from Front Royal, born and raised. I was served 6 years in the Army. I did 2 tours in Iraq, and on my second tour in Iraq, I was shot in the neck by a sniper, and I'm now paralyzed from the shoulders down. That's why I'm in the wheelchair, in case you're wondering. But like you said, this holiday is not about Veterans Day, but there's a difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Veterans Day is where we honor and remember everybody that served for our country. Memorial Day is much more important. It's where we take time and remember the ones that have paid the ultimate sacrifice and died for this great country and to give us the freedoms that we hold near and dear. Freedoms like gathering together on this front of the school, sing the national anthem and pledge allegiance to the flag. A lot of things like that we take for granted. But in other countries, they're not able to do this. But in the United States, we can still do it, and it's because of those men and women that have died to give us this freedom that we have. So on Memorial Day, like I said, it's not a day for me. It's a day to remember the men and women that have fallen. Like my friends, Lieutenant Amos Bach, Staff Sergeant Daniel Bader, who was killed when his helicopter got shot down in Fallujah. Lieutenant Mike Adams, my dear friend, who got killed in a firefight in Fallujah. Sergeant Ryan Bauman, who was killed in the mountains of Afghanistan in 2007. And many more just like them. So what can we do? Saying thank you to these men and women that are no longer here. What can we do as citizens of the United States to show them our appreciation? One thing you can do is you can reach out to their families and say thank you and ask them to tell you the stories of their loved ones if they want to. But the biggest thing you can do is you can live a life worth their sacrifice. Live a life that brings pride to the United States, not one that brings shame to the United States. Live a life that brings good to the community, good to other people. Live a life that's worth the death that these men and women gave for us to be here. So on this Memorial Day, remember, I'm not saying that I want you to have a cookout and go to the pool for the first weekend while it's open, but just remember that people gave their lives for you to have the freedom to gather together for places events like this, and for you to have your cookouts and your barbecue and go to your play Little League and everything else like that. People are giving their life for you to have those freedoms. And I really appreciate you all having me out here to speak. And I'm humbled by the support that this community always gives me. But I want to thank you, and I want to say God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Bunky. Let me tell you, it's to let you know, and Bunky is, if you don't know what the word humble is, just look at this man right here. He gets a lot of requests to speak at places, and he could probably charge a lot of money. But when we reached out to him through Reese and May Petty's father, who's very dear friends with Bunky, and their mom, Hope, Bunky, without even thinking about it, said, absolutely, let me just check my schedule. And he said he'd be happy to come over and do it. And I want to tell you something, in as much as we thank Bunky for his service, that woman right there, his mother, don't you ever miss an opportunity to thank her. This is her boy. This is her boy. Bunky, thank you so much. And Bunky, when we place these flags in the ground, please know that we are also honoring the friends of yours that are no longer here. And we're so happy that you still are. Bless you, buddy. Okay, so now our EarlyAct students are going to be placing American flags in the ground. And if you would like to join them, we would love for you to join us in this part of the ceremony as well. We have plenty of extra flags. We have plenty for everybody. And we want to scatter them across this lawn. And we want to keep them up until the day after Memorial Day, so that when our students in our community come by E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School, they know how proud our students are of the country that they have. And that's not to say other students aren't proud of their country, but I'm very proud of how we try to impress that upon our young people. And I just want to say to our young people, keep this day in mind every time you say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I don't think there's a person here who hasn't seen me have a conversation with some people that were disrespectful during the Pledge of Allegiance in their classroom. And the conversation didn't end very positively, because my father wore that uniform. And I'm very proud of this country. I'm very thankful for the men and women that have given their lives for me, so that I can come to a beautiful place like E. Wilson Morrison Elementary and hang out with the greatest young people on the planet. So remember that when you say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. And if you see somebody not taking it seriously, kindly encourage them to take it seriously. Now we'll plant our flags.
Just anywhere. Just like on the side.